Hello everyone and welcome to my The Bold Fans channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to Monday, August 24 spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful BNB, Torsten K's character Ridge Forrester won't let up until he receives some clarification. They need to explain themselves after Ridge discovered Steffy Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, and Carter Walton Lawrence St. Victor, fighting in a corner of Forrester Creations. For a few period, Ridge stood outside the door and listened, but it appears that the face-off was too muffled for him to learn anything meaningful. Ridge is therefore perplexed as to why Carter and Steffy are currently engaged in such a heated argument. Carter and Steffy will need to find an excuse for their altercation, so they may attribute it to a work-related issue. On the other hand, Carter can assert that he is pressuring Steffy to reconcile with John Finnegan Tanner Novlin, and get past their most recent conflict in Monaco. Carter may mention that he recently restored his marriage to Daphne Rose Walton, Muriel Hilaire, and that he is attempting to persuade Steffy to follow suit. Carter won't be lying if that's the justification he uses. Carter, however, won't be sharing the entire tale either because he had an affair with Steffy while intoxicated. Ridge might not be aware of that aspect of it all, and wonder why Carter is interfering in Steffy's romantic life. It's simple to see Ridge telling Carter to back off so Steffy may decide what to do next on her own. According to BNB spoilers, Melissa Dillon, Sydney Bullock, will accompany Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, home and would gladly assist him in moving away from Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace. Will attempt to live a separate life as Electra made it apparent that they needed to start doing so. Will and Dylan will soon find themselves sharing a kiss beneath his outdoor shower at the beach house. Stay in to see if Dylan and Will actually close the deal this time, as that might result in their stripping down inside in the aftermath. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Dylan will continue pursuing the man she desires, but in the upcoming episodes, Katie Logan Spencer, Heather Tom, won't take it well. Monday, August 24th, 2026 spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful begin in the tense aftermath of Ridge Forrester's unannounced disruption. Steffy Forrester and Carter Walton had sneaked into a quiet office at Forrester Creations on Friday in order to discuss their risky secret, the night they spent together on the sofa when their marriages were failing. As Steffy maintained she could not continue lying to Finn and Carter pled with her to consider the disastrous consequences, their voices grew louder. Already tense from the Monaco tragedy and his daughter's precarious condition, Ridge heard the angry conversation coming from the corridor, pushed open the door, and insisted on knowing what was happening. The two conspirators froze. As the new week gets underway, Steffy and Carter have to work quickly to come up with an excuse that will appease the most powerful man in their lives without revealing the truth that might ruin two marriages and permanently split the Forrester family. Ridge does not enter that office as a bystander. He is a father who has witnessed his daughter experience pain after trauma, including the bullets from Sheila Carter, the never-ending struggle for allegiance, and the recent public humiliation in Monaco when Finn decided to stand up for his birth mother rather than his wife. He has been protective of Steffy, enraged with Finn, and determined to bring some stability back to the family and the business for the past week. Every father's alarm goes off when he discovers his daughter and the company's dependable lawyer engaged in a secret, heated dispute. He only knows that the intensity of their talk was off, but he doesn't yet know what was discussed. The biggest threat to Steffy and Carter, as well as their primary short-term defense, is that uncertainty. They have to fill the void with a story that seems credible enough to bring Ridge back to his own worries, but they can't take a chance on any information that would raise more questions. As soon as Ridge shows up, Steffy's mind starts racing. She had been burdened by the cover-up for days. She repeatedly attempted to tell Finn the truth after the night with Carter, but he kept interrupting her with his own heartfelt apologies for Sheila's predicament. Finn interrupted her every time she spoke, promising restraining orders and newfound dedication. Compared to the ring she had hurled at him on the Monaco beach, the one he returned to her finger felt heavier. Now when her father is there in the doorway, her want to confess clashes with her inclination to defend her husband, her kids, and the meticulously restored life she has battled for. She is aware of Ridge's fury. She is aware of how fast, When he feels that someone has harmed his family, he can go from being a worried father to a judge and jury. In addition to ending her marriage, Ridge would have to choose between his daughter and the man he has treated like a son-in-law if she admitted to having an affair with Carter when Finn was traveling home to ask for forgiveness. Carter would suffer equally immediate and long-lasting professional repercussions. Carter's fear is more subdued but no less severe. He's only recently started to mend his friendship with Daphne. She came back from the verge of departing for Paris, expressed regret for leaving, and reaffirmed their commitment to creating a future together, even if it still entails the uncertainty of their infertility. Mutual heartbreak and excessive alcohol consumption led to the night with Steffy, a single careless choice that they both instantly regretted. Carter has consistently maintained that silence is the only path forward. He feels that if he told the truth, he would lose Daphne, his job at Forrester Creations, and the respect of Ridge, his longtime mentor. Carter weighs his chances of survival while standing in that office with Ridge staring at him. They may buy time with a partial truth. Everything would finish with a complete confession. Deflection is the most obvious strategy to start the scramble. Steffy may argue that following the breakdown of the Monaco collaboration with the Logans, they were talking about the company's legal liability. While she dealt with the emotional consequences of Finn's secrecy, she could create a scenario in which Carter was giving her advice on how to protect Forrester Creations from additional Logan intervention. Carter could support her with technical terms related to non-disclosure agreements and contracts, the kind of dry corporate jargon that has always bored Ridge into shifting the topic. However, when his daughter is involved, Ridge is not easily sidetracked. He's known Steffy all his life. When she is concealing something, he can tell by the stiffness in her body and the tightening of her voice. A solely professional answer might not be sufficient. Concern about Finn could be the basis for a second layer of the narrative. Steffy may claim that she sought Carter's counsel because she needed an unbiased ear and was still upset with her husband. Carter was a long-standing family friend and the company's lawyer, so it made sense to discuss whether the marriage could withstand another Sheila-related catastrophe. The fact that Steffy did turn to Carter in her desperation is one of this version's advantages. It also maintains the spotlight on the same problem that Ridge has been complaining about all week. The fact that his daughter was seeking advice rather than acting on impulse may perhaps give Ridge a little moment of approval. However, the risk is still very significant. The holes in the discourse will become apparent if Ridge pursues for specifics. Why are people raising their voices? Why is the door closed? Why did he come with such a terrified expression on both of their faces? Carter might attempt another strategy that places more of the emotional load on himself. He may say that he was confiding in Steffy about his own marriage problems with Daphne in order to get her advice as someone who has experienced several relationship storms. In this version, Steffy was just helping a buddy who was going through a difficult time. On the surface, the scenario seems plausible. Ridge is already aware of the general details of Daphne's absence and return because they were made public enough within the organization. Once more, the story is undermined by the strength of the argument. Usually, friends who give consolation don't sound as desperate as Steffy and Carter sounded through that closed door. Ridge has spent decades negotiating the Forrester Empire's emotional undertones. He'll feel like there's more at risk. The actual environment is detrimental to them. The private office is not an impartial setting. Just a few days prior, Steffy and Carter had woken up in the same suite, nude and intoxicated, frantically trying to get dressed before Finn's texts revealed his impending homecoming. The memory of their error is carried by the desk, the couch, and the room itself. Steffy will be burdened by that past each time Ridge looks around. Carter will resist the temptation to examine the precise location where they went too far. There are more chances for a slip, an unguarded look, an incomplete sentence, or a defensive tone that divulges too much, the longer the talk goes on. The scramble is made more difficult by Ridge's mental state. From Monaco, he is still raw. He accused Finn of letting the woman who had shot his daughter sit next to him on a transatlantic journey and of neglecting to keep Sheila away from Steffy. That rage hasn't completely subsided. Ridge might use Steffy and Carter's explanation as more evidence of his son-in-law's untrustworthiness if it in any way, even indirectly, implicates Finn. On the other hand, Ridge's protective tendencies might become more dominant if the explanation portrays Steffy as erratic or excessively sentimental. The two individuals attempting to create a safe narrative in real time are under more strain as a result of any response. Another level of urgency is created by the professional stakes. Ridge's confidence is essential to Carter's role at Forrester Creations. Because the family thinks he is loyal, he has gone from being an outsider to a crucial legal advisor. The kind of transgression that kills careers in an afternoon is sleeping with the boss's married daughter. Part of Steffy's influence as co-CEO is based on the belief that she can handle crises without causing new ones. Every rival both inside and outside the corporation, including Hope Logan and the surviving Spencer interests still hurting from recent setbacks, would have ammunition if there was a scandal involving Carter. Both Steffy and Carter are aware that the cover-up is about maintaining their professional identities as much as their marriages. The two will probably slip into a well-known pattern of incomplete statements and overlapping defenses as the conversation with Ridge progresses. When Steffy realizes how flimsy her statement about wanting legal guidance seems, she could stop talking. Carter might start using business jargon and see Ridge's eyes narrow. The first dispute, which Ridge only partially overheard, will become more and more of an uninvited guest as they converse. Even if Ridge decides he's had enough and walks away, the harm will already be done. Once suspicion is established, it does not go away. He'll keep a closer eye on them. He will silently question other staff members. If Steffy and Carter avoid spending time together alone, or worse if they keep looking for one another, he will notice. The scramble is made considerably more dangerous by the wider network of connections. Finn believes the only wounds he needs to heal are the ones he caused in Monaco, and he is still in the early phases of mending his marriage. Unaware that Carter is still negotiating the parameters of a secret that could destroy her once more, Daphne is cautiously enthusiastic about her newfound devotion to him. Taylor Hayes, who is constantly in Steffy's emotional circle, will recognize any fresh strain in her daughter. Ever sensitive to changes in Ridge's attitude, Brooke Logan might notice his lingering discomfort and start her own quiet questions. These individuals all stand for additional possible exposure points. The more people who become aware that something is wrong, the more difficult it is to keep the secret. Ridge leaving the room won't put a stop to Steffy's mental struggle. While the rush to explain can provide her with short-term security, it will also increase her guilt. Every falsehood she tells her father puts more distance between her and the integrity she professes to cherish. She has been demanding openness from Hope, Finn, and anybody else who could jeopardize her family's stability for years. She is now the one creating a complex lie. She will be consumed by the cognitive dissonance. For reasons of self-preservation, it might either encourage her to confess or, on the other hand, keep her more firmly in the cover-up. Carter is dealing with a different situation. He has consistently portrayed himself as a man of ethics, the dependable professional who handles the Forrester upheaval with moral clarity. That self-image was already damaged by the evening with Steffy. Lying to Ridge exacerbates the harm. It's conceivable that the episode will conclude without a satisfying conclusion. For the time being, Ridge might accept a partial answer, but he won't be content. Knowing that time is still of the essence, Steffy and Carter will exchange a look of fragile relief tinged with fear. The secret will keep applying pressure somewhere in the building, or eventually at the Cliff home. If Steffy appears preoccupied, Finn will notice. Daphne will be able to tell if Carter is farther away than the reconciliation justifies. Sheila Carter, who is constantly in the midst of a family problem, might yet manage to take advantage of the conflict for her personal gain. Secrets have never been allowed to rest in peace on the bold and the beautiful. Monday's scramble is just the first step in a lengthy survival game. The confluence of the personal and professional spheres is what makes this specific crisis so powerful. Forrester Creations is more than just a place of employment. It's the family stage where all personal dramas inevitably come to the public eye. A secret that starts on an office couch eventually finds its way into design meetings, boardrooms, and family dinners. According to the character's definitions, the 5 options listed here are the most straightforward paths to emotional justice. Steffy will learn that the cost of a cover-up is rarely paid in a single instant, regardless of Finn's decision to follow one course or a combination of them. Every subsequent encounter, every vacant room in the house, and every reminder that the vows they both made were violated long before either of them acknowledged it are all used to gradually remove it. The bold and the beautiful. 5 ways Finn makes Steffy pay for Carter cover-up and broken marriage vows. Finn may have always been the cool-headed, sympathetic guy who stood by Steffy Forrester, but the bold and the beautiful may be getting ready to reveal a very different side of him to the audience. The most recent information about Carter Walton may cause Steffy and Finn's marriage to collapse in light of everything that has transpired between them. Steffy may soon understand that the repercussions will be far more agonizing than she ever imagined if she believed she could conceal the truth, shield Carter, and prevent Finn from learning the whole truth. Steffy and Finn have battled for years to keep their marriage safe from outside influences. They have persevered through emotional crises, stunning revelations, betrayals, and family conflict that would have ruined many other relationships. Finn has shown time and time again that he is prepared to overlook Steffy's errors. However, forgiving has its limits, particularly when a spouse feels tricked on purpose. The Carter cover-up might be the last straw. Finn might not just lose it if he finds out that Steffy actively assisted in keeping crucial information from him and knew more than she acknowledged. Alternatively, he could make a number of deliberate decisions that make Steffy bear the repercussions of her behavior. Finn can hold Steffy accountable without resorting to cruelty. His readiness to quit shielding her from the emotional fallout from her own choices may perhaps be his best tool. Finn's first option would be to stop covering for Steffy. When Steffy's family gets involved in another incident, she frequently looks to Finn to support her. Finn has a tendency to try to understand her motivations, even if he doesn't agree with her decisions. He is aware of her intense devotion to her family, which has occasionally led her to make choices that put a great deal of strain on their marriage. However, what happens when Finn recognizes that Steffy's allegiance has gone too far? Finn might feel personally deceived if Steffy deliberately assisted in hiding something about Carter. The secret itself might not always be the most painful thing. Steffy may have come to the conclusion that he didn't deserve to know the truth. That distinction is important. Finn might be able to overlook a mistake, but purposefully keeping him in the dark might cause him to doubt the basis of their whole partnership. He could inform Steffy that she will now be responsible for handling the fallout on her own. Thus, there will be no more justifications. No more justifications meant to shield Steffy from the consequences. Finn will no longer stand in the way of Steffy and those who want answers. That could be disastrous for Steffy. Finn has always been her emotional safety net. She is aware of his love for her despite their disagreements. Steffy might feel totally alone if Finn abruptly stops providing that protection. And Finn might not even have to leave their home to make his point. He could simply stop defending her. Imagine Steffy facing questions from her family, Carter, or other people involved in the situation while Finn remained silent. Instead of jumping in to explain her behavior, he could tell her that she made her choice and now she has to own it. That would be a powerful punishment because it would force Steffy to confront the consequences without the man she loves cleaning up the mess. The second way Finn could make Steffy pay is by putting emotional distance between them. Steffy may expect an explosive confrontation when Finn learns the truth. She might prepare herself for yelling, accusations, and an emotional showdown. But Finn could surprise her by doing something much colder. He could become distant. Instead of screaming, Finn might tell Steffy that he needs space. He could sleep separately, spend more time at the hospital, and limit their conversations to practical matters. The more Steffy tries to get through to him, the more Finn could pull away. For someone like Steffy, that could be unbearable. She has always been intensely emotional when it comes to Finn. Their connection is one of the most important relationships in her life, and the thought of losing his trust could terrify her. Finn could make it clear that he is not ready to pretend everything is normal. He could tell Steffy that their marriage vows meant something to him. Trust meant something to him. Honesty meant something to him. If she violated those principles, then she cannot expect him to simply forget what happened because she says she loves him. That could lead to one of the most emotional conversations between the couple. Steffy might insist that she was trying to protect people. She could argue that she never intended to hurt Finn. She may even insist that she believed keeping the secret was the best option. But Finn could respond with one devastating question. Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me the truth? That question could haunt Steffy. Because at the heart of their marital problems would not simply be Carter. It would be trust. Finn could start questioning how many other things Steffy has kept from him. He might wonder whether she truly sees him as an equal partner or whether she only tells him what she thinks he needs to know. That kind of doubt can destroy even the strongest marriage. The third way Finn could make Steffy pay is by refusing to accept another broken promise. Steffy and Finn have made vows to each other. Like any soap couple, they have had moments when those vows were tested. But if Finn believes Steffy deliberately crossed another major boundary, he could decide that apologies are no longer enough. Steffy could promise that she will never hide something this important from him again.